Fighting is different. It's just about preparing for these scenarios.
What made you go into it?
It's a force for good in other people's lives. Something that brings fulfillment, which is so much greater than just winning in the cage.
Where do you see yourself ultimately?
I always aimed for the top. It's really about imposing kind of yourself on the world.
No, that's very profound.
You have to be disciplined in all areas of your life.
If something were to happen, then you would have taken a completely different path.
Chasing success isn't the biggest thing for me.
Do you feel like your competition has enhanced your faith?
Fear of failure, that's what I run away from.
What can you do and what can't you do?
Mixed martial arts is different from boxing.
Do people die in it?
In boxing it happens. Pain is the barrier to entry, and excellence is the capacity to take that pain, still push through.
Bro, it's time. It's time already?
Yeah.
Alright, let's go. Another big episode today, bro. Bro, my dad's been on my case for the last week. I need to send him money in Bangladesh.
So what's stopping you, bro?
Bro, it's long. The queues are endless. And have you seen where they're located? Red routes, nowhere to park. Nah, man. Oh, the guest is here, by the way. We gotta go.
Come on, bro. Why don't you use what I use?
What do you use?
Basically, it's this app that I use. It's called Taptap Send, and bro, it's a game changer. I don't have to go to these money transfer shops. I don't have to wait in the queues, and I don't have to get a parking fine. It's all on my phone, and I can use my card to send money back home instantly.
So what's the catch?
Bro, there is no catch. In fact, it's quite the opposite. No hidden fees, no transfer fees, and on top, if you use the KSR code, you get £20 credit.
Say no more. £20, yeah? I'm gonna download the app right now. My dad's gonna love me for this.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Problem solved. Now let's get inside. We've got a killer episode to record. Before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, supporters and well-wishers, I have one request. Please do consider subscribing to our channel on the platform you are tuned into. It is your subscription that motivates me and my team to continue with our effort here at Side by Side. If you have enjoyed any of our episodes, any of our content, please hit that subscribe button now. Now let's get straight into the show. I'm your host, Kazi, Shafiqur Rahman. Assalamu alaikum, brother Shah Kamali. Welcome to Side by Side.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you very much for having me.
Jazakallah khairan for coming before me. Generally, sometimes, I don't want to expose anyone, it's the other way around, where I'm sitting in the studio and I'm waiting, for people. How comes you're punctual? Like, is that a thing like that you've been taught? Or generally, Bengalis, like, we've got our own time zones, haven't we? Like, it's called BMT, which is like 2-3 hours later. Yeah.
No, it's just part of being a professional. You've got to be punctual, be on time. And today's Friday, go Jummah, and not much stress today. So,
where did you play? Locally?
I played local. I played right opposite.
Okay,
so
nice.
Yeah.
So that's really good, man. Because many people know me, and many people have watched my documentary, and there's a section where the documentary says, despite the seriousness of the meeting, Kazi is over an hour late. And I was like, what would you do that for? And then I asked the guy, like, okay, at first I wasn't late, but what's the deal? Like, anyone can be late here and there. And he goes, no, it's just a professionalism, as you just said. And it's a respect as well. Like, you show respect by putting the effort in the other person has put in. Like, for example, you have come in at a certain time, you would expect your counterpart to also be there at the same time. And yeah, especially with white people, they take it as a big offense. And us Bengalis, we don't really realize like how offensive it is. But once one person told me like, this is offensive. That's when I'd done a U-turn. Like, that's when I would make extra efforts to be on time. But
you messaged me. You said you're going to be late, and obviously it's understandable. I'm not.
Alhamdulillah. I think that's the key as well. Like keeping communication open and letting them know. Like, look, I'm running a bit late. Anyway, let's get straight to business. Mashallah, I've been aware of you for a while. And our producer, he's been saying like, well, we need to get Shah Kamali, mashallah, rising star in the community. So I was like, yeah, let's go. But generally, I'm not really like into like any form of sports, not just boxing. But when I start watching boxing, then I know like who I want like to win the fight. And I was watching yours yesterday, and I was like, okay, win, quick, like. And then I started doing a bit of research on the rules and regulations. Now, for the viewers who don't understand what the rules and regulations are, if you can give us a bit of a lowdown, like what you can do and what you can't do. What are the rules and regulations of the fight? What can you do and what can't you do?
Okay. So the sport is obviously mixed martial arts. It's different from boxing. It's its own sport in and of itself. So the rules they're quite simple. You're allowed to obviously punch, kick to the head. Depending on the rule set, amateur or pro, you're allowed to knee to the head. You're allowed to use your elbows. You're allowed to do certain submissions, for example, leg locks, which you're not allowed to do at amateur. It's pretty much, as far as it goes, you're not allowed to, no eye pokes, no eye gouging, no low blows. But apart from that, it's pretty much as close as you can get to a pure fight. You know?
What's a low blow like? Is that a certain area?
No, it's if groin shots. You're not allowed to.
Okay.
To the
But do you
groin.
guys have any protection?
Yeah, you wear a groin guard in the fight. It's standard. It's a mandatory.
That's a very serious area that you don't want to.
No.
Because I didn't know these are the rules. And then I was watching. I was like, why doesn't he just kick where he's supposed to kick? And then you're like, because what's it? Is it the Shadabai like?
Which fight were you watching?
What's his name?
Luke. Was it
No,
that
the guy with the N and
Luke Newland.
Yeah, Newland. Yeah,
Newland,
that's the one. That's the
yeah.
one. Is he same height as you?
Same height, yeah.
Okay. So he had you on the bottom for a while, and then you somehow got out.
Just stand up, yeah. You just stand up.
Yeah. So what was happening like at that moment, like when you were underneath and he was pushing you down? Like, what was going through your mind? Like, how do you strategize at that point to like, okay, I'm gonna get out, or because it seems like he's not doing anything.
When we're preparing for fights, we prepare in all sorts of bad positions. So that position there, you see, I'll be in that position in 50, 100 times in training.
Okay.
And we're working to get up, stand up. Because I realize he's not doing anything, then there's no real threat there. Because if he starts to do something different, chaining, different attacks, then you have to kind of, okay, now my mind has to work. But when he's not doing anything, okay, I can just realize, let me just stand up, get back to action again. And it's just about preparation in the gym, preparing for these scenarios. When they happen in a fight, it's just muscle memory at that point.
Wow. So why was he not like, punching you at that point? Like, why was he just like holding?
Because at that point, if he punches me, he has to let go of his grips. Ooh. And as he lets go, he's not connected anymore. And I can stand up easier. So there's an element of strategy involved. He's trying to control me to the point where he can find a position where he can still control me and punch and do damage. But because I'm aware of this, it worked against him.
Wow. So if he can hold you like this in such a position, or if you can hold someone in such a position for long enough, does that mean you win the fight?
No. After a certain while, the ref will say, we need some action, and then they'll separate you and stand you back up.
Okay.
The refs don't like stalling.
So
if you're in a position and you're just holding someone there and you're not doing anything, the ref will come close to you and they'll say, I need some action. And if they don't see anything for another 3 to 5 seconds, they'll stand you back up.
Okay, and how does the points work? Like I read somewhere it's 10 points or something, and then...
So the winner of the round receives, so it's standard scoring, 10 and 10.
Okay.
If you win the round, you get 10 points, and if you lose, you get 9. If you lose it very badly, you will only get 8 points. So it'll be a 10-8 round, which is rare. But if you get battered that much, 10-8 basically means the fight should have been stopped, but somehow you managed to keep going.
Okay.
So yeah, standard 10-9 scoring system. The winner receives 10 points. The loser, obviously, of the round is 9 points.
If you don't mind me asking, obviously you started at 20, age of 20.
Yes, age of 20.
How young are you now?
I'm 26.
Okay, so 6 years you've been in action. Or was it before?
No. 6 years I've been training. 3 years I've been in action.
Okay.
So competing for about 3 years.
Okay.
But training for about 6. Yeah.
And what made you go into it?
What made me go into it? So I say this story every time it gets asked. I really was just looking for like a hobby. When I was going to university, you have a lot of free time at university, and what I wanted to do with my free time was train a new sport. 'Cause I was always active, regularly going to the gym and stuff, but you want a little bit more of a challenge. So I found a local gym, Fight Zone in Bethnal Green. I started there. I just enjoyed it. I just enjoy the challenge. It's a different mental stimulation when you're training jiu-jitsu, because it's not really, because you can have the physical muscle and you're getting manhandled by people that are 30, 40, 50 kilos lighter than you and just wondering how they're doing it, because it's based on technique and strategy, which was one of the main things that drew me towards it.
Now, a lot of people say to me like, "Oh, you know what? You need to do jiu-jitsu and boxing, and it's going to help you with your focus, and it's really like mentally stimulating." Is that true?
No, of course it's true, 100%. I think it's like any game. Like, for example, people love to play chess because it's a game based on strategy, and you have to use a lot of your mental power faculties to calculate the moves ahead of you, right? In order to get the checkmate, the final position where you win. Jiu-jitsu and other sports are similar in that sense, where it's based on strategy, and your goal is to get to the submission, to finishing someone to the point where they tap and say they can't go anymore. Jiu-jitsu is very strategic. You have to be so aware of your body. But the thing about this, and in terms of the difference between that and a different game, you're just using your mental for chess, right? You have to use your body, your physical capabilities. You have to have your cardio has to be good. You have to have some physical strength. It's full body and mind. I think that's what differentiates it. That's why people get addicted to it very quickly, because it's such a all-encompassing sport.
Maybe I should give it a try after all. What do people around you say about what you do? Like, for example, I'll give an example. Like podcast, it's nice, it's fun, but when things go wrong, like for example, if there's an episode that's, not as expected, or maybe it's making people talk more and it's controversial, then not only do I feel the heat, but people around me also feel the heat. How does it work for you? Is there a lot of support, and is only support, or is it opposition as well?
I don't get much opposition really. For the most part, genuinely overwhelmingly positive. I wouldn't even focus on anyone that's overly negative either, because that gives them the spotlight rather than the people who are supporting. These are the people that we need to amplify their voices. Just coming to this podcast, after I left the mosque, I bumped into someone. I didn't know he works in the same building. And he was giving me positive messages and feedback, and overwhelmingly positive. I get messages from all over the world, because the Bangladeshi diaspora is worldwide.
Yeah,
so I get
there's a Bangladeshi by everywhere. Even if you go to Greenland, you'll probably find a Bangladeshi somewhere.
Exactly. It's crazy. So the number of people that message me from Australia, from America, from New York, from everywhere, all of these places, and they say, some of these messages are saying they've been motivated to get into sport, and because of me, because they see what I've been doing.
MashaAllah.
So alhamdulillah, it's a force for good in other people's lives, which is something that it brings fulfillment, which is so much greater than just winning in the cage.
You were waving the Bangladeshi flag as well as the Palestine flag together.
Yes.
Did you find any oppositions? A lot of games or organizers, they have issues like with such a thing.
I think fighting is different. I think fighting, you're representing yourself first and foremost as an athlete, and it's not as if it's like in football you'd be representing a team. The only person I'm representing is kind of myself in a sense. So I can stand on whatever beliefs that I have. And fighters kind of have that ability, to do that. In other sports, you have different kind of, sponsorship agreements where, sponsors will
Okay.
flag up, you know. So footballers can't really talk about Palestine too much because
Okay.
their brand deals will get pulled.
Yeah.
But I can do whatever.
Okay. And how do you like? Do you get sponsorship as well to support you, or do you have to self-fund it? Or
Yes. So recently, of course, sponsored with Adana Turkish on
Okay.
Bethnal Green Road,
Okay.
and also sponsored with Taptap Send.
Oh wow.
So I might have to plug my code in. So if you wanna,
Fantastic. What? Is your one better than mine?
I don't know how much.
My one is KSI and it gives 20 pounds.
£20. My one is BBB and it gives £20 as well.
Oh.
So if you wanna, if you wanna use the code, whichever one, flip a coin.
Oh my god.
But so I literally had that meeting 2 days ago with Shah in the.
Yeah,
in this
no,
building,
that's
you know.
amazing. Same building. So
Yeah,
you
same
kind of
building, yeah, so it's
you're aware of
perfect,
this
yeah.
building, mashallah.
Yeah.
No, that's
So,
good.
yeah, so sponsorship does fund most a lot of it. A lot of it before sponsorship, it's essentially self-funded. You still have to work in order to pay bills and fund your training because it's at the beginning it's just dog work. You know, it's like you in the Whitechapel Market. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
you're just on the cold days
Yeah.
and you're still trying to sell your perfume. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing. You know, the beginning is always going to be that dog work. You have to kind of, it's just a necessary entry level thing that you have to kind of survive in order to make it to the top. No one gets there based on, you don't get handouts. You know,
Yeah.
no one gives you a handout.
When you started your journey, obviously, maybe it was initially just to check it out, and then you got hooked onto it, and then you probably realized, you know what, that can be a thing. You know, I can probably take it on a professional level. Did you set yourself a time frame like, okay, you know, I'm going to commit minimum that many years before I see any results, and before that, I'm just going to keep working?
I didn't set myself any time frame.
Okay.
I kind of, when I went into it, first it's just like a passion kind of thing. It was always a passion thing. It was always like chasing my own curiosity and following that, because if you're kind of doing it and you're giving yourself certain time frames, that's not really based on like passion or curiosity. You're kind of giving yourself deadlines. You're kind of giving yourself a ceiling.
Yeah.
I didn't put any ceiling on myself, and really and truly, it was just for the love of figuring this out. You know, for the love of figuring this sport out, and the element of competition always makes it a little bit. As a man, you want to get into that competition, the thrill of the competition. You know, defeating another person in a cage. You know, and boosting your name. So, yeah, I think I didn't give myself any time frame. I always aimed for the top, though. I always wanted to get to the top, no matter how long it takes. I'm not going to put any time frame. I think at the beginning, though, my commitment levels weren't as solidified because you're kind of in an unknown. Right after I've graduated from university, I'm still applying for jobs. I'm still applying, and you know, if I get this job, then I might have never gone and fully committed to this path. You know, because it can. One thing can lead to another, and you can just completely.
I can completely relate to what you're saying. You know, if something were to happen, then you would have taken a completely different path, and you wouldn't have been on the path that you're on. Yeah. I'll give you an example. I was working in City Airport, right? And there was 4 of us Bangladeshis. So I inspired everyone. Listen, this job isn't going to do much for us. We need to have some independence. So I convinced everyone, let's go driving instructing. Let's go. There's a school in Leytonstone or somewhere. And let's go and check them out. So we all started and they all made it. And this is like, you know, after me driving, 5 years or something, I passed my theory and for some reason I just can't pass my practical. And obviously with practical, there's the thresholds are much, stricter.
Yeah.
So you can only get 6 minors or something with the instructing one. And I kept on like trying and God knows how many thousands of duas that I've made, like, you know, the Khatme Yunus, like to pass my test. I was so into it because the other guys, they've already passed and I'm the only left one. And it didn't happen. Even on the 3rd attempt, it didn't happen. And I was so disappointed. And the guy said, oh, I didn't know it was your 3rd one. But, and straight after that, or right after that, that's when Sunnah Mosque came into the horizon. So imagine I became an instructor. Imagine I went down that path I wouldn't have discovered
Exactly, yeah.
the path that I'm on. And I don't think I would have been sitting in front of you interviewing you as
you
well.
we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Subhanallah,
Yeah, subhanallah.
life is amazing in some sense. And I think I always say, sometimes let the wind blow you to a certain direction as well. Don't be too fixated on exactly what you want, because sometimes the intuition or the wind is blowing you towards a certain direction, and you should have that flexibility as well.
No, that's true, 100%.
So so mashallah. So you were always aiming for the top, and you still are. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself ultimately?
Ultimately, inshallah, I want to see myself in the UFC. That will be monumental for the community, for Bangladeshis in general. And inshallah, one day I want to obviously become a world champion. So that's the ultimate goal, with the highest level you can get in this sport. So it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and but that's where you can't. Once you start putting a ceiling on yourself, it just keeps on closing down. So I just aim for the top.
So are you an optimistic person? It sounds like you are.
Yeah, definitely.
Very optimistic. You know what? Let's do it.
Yes, very optimistic. I think I've always been that way. I don't have any room for kind of pessimistic and doubts.
Pessimism,
pessimism, doubts, and the sort. I just don't see any. I don't see any need for it.
Yeah.
I think to myself, a lot of times I think, especially sometimes people who are gifted with high intelligence and high, they sort of intellectualize their own cowardice in a way where they know the ideas that can work, but they give themselves 100 ideas why it won't work. Whereas a person who isn't as intelligent or has more, let's say, cojones, they would go through with it, and they won't care about the naysayers, because ultimately, I don't think genius lies in ideas. Genius lies in the person that makes it a reality. So, well and truly, it's the individual that makes the difference.
It's so true. Everything that you say is like, these are the things that I think about as well. And I'm a super optimistic person. I'm equally, I don't know if you are curious or inquisitive. Sounds like you are.
Yeah.
I'm also very much into strategy and, why certain things works in a certain way, why certain angles would work, or why certain decisions would work and why certain things wouldn't. So I completely relate with you. And, there's so many super smart people even around us. And when I think I'm a nobody, like I barely have a GCSE. And alhamdulillah, I'm blessed to have what I have today. But those people also should have, what we have. And I just can't figure it out. Like, why is it the way it is?
It comes down to, I think, risk appetite. I think they have a less appetite for risk. I think when you realize, things like someone with dogged determination can make things happen, and it's really about imposing kind of yourself on the world in a way, and leaving your mark. And some people don't believe in themselves enough to want to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe because of whatever reasons, they have maybe they just don't want to. Maybe they don't have that determination in them. It's just they want to live a comfortable life, normal life, and they enjoy it. So that's on them, really.
Yeah. You're right. Some people just don't want it.
Yeah.
And then it's okay. It's okay
Fine,
to not want it. But personally, I want it, and I'm going to make it happen. And it's, again, imposing your will to what you want to achieve is so powerful. And people think it's all like doom and gloom on the other side, but you don't know what's waiting for you. Most likely something positive. Yes, you will face some difficulties, and that's, I guess, it's almost like a filter to filter out people that don't deserve it.
Yeah. Pain is the barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Pain is the barrier to entry, and excellence is the capacity to take that pain, and still push through. I'm sure in your entrepreneurial career, you face many rejections, many, dips and troughs, but it's all worth it. It has meaning in the end, you just weather the storm.
Alhamdulillah. I mean, there's way too many to count and mention, but I think on a positive side, what you get is something that I wouldn't trade for anything else.
Exactly, yeah.
Time, freedom of time, doing what you want to do, or maybe what you need to do in a certain way. And I think that's probably most beautiful thing for because money you can have, like, eating, you can only eat so much.
Yeah.
Then what?
And yeah.
So yeah, I think a freedom to, be creative is so fulfilling for me in personally. You represent Bangladesh, but obviously you're not living in Bangladesh. I can see that, like me, you have this connection to our motherland. Where does that come from?
I think it comes from, I don't know, because I wasn't born there. I've only ever visited twice. I've only ever been to Bangladesh twice, but I think it's very, very important because I'm second generation. My parents came here in the 90s. So I think the current generation of Bangladeshis in this country, they were kind of losing that connection back home. And this was explained to me once before, but it's very, very powerful, that kind of way, the explanation that they gave. For generations, for centuries, your grandfather's grandfather, they lived in that village in Bangladesh. Their children were born in Bangladesh. They died in Bangladesh. But now we've emigrated to this country. Now your children are born in this country. Their grandchildren might be born in this country. So all of that link from back home, centuries from your village, right? Millennia, right? Centuries and centuries and centuries. But now your history is kind of in this country and you're losing connection back home. And people like, Bangladesh is a beautiful country. It's a beautiful country. I think everyone should, try and visit back home if they can, if it's possible, because it's the feeling you get when you're there is such a, that feeling of shanti, that peace. When you step foot off that plane and you're just in Bangladesh and it's like you touch home with your roots. I think it's very important, and we should promote it. And the Bangladeshi people as a whole, very hardworking, very hospitable, very, providing the generous nature of Bangladeshi people. I think we have to highlight that as well, and show the world, kind of represent who we are to the world.
I mean, a lot of us go to Thailand, very close, and if Thailand probably has similar effect, similar feel to Bangladesh, and Bangladesh has come a long way, like, from what it was, say, 20 years ago. I mean, I love I was born in Bangladesh. We arrived in 1997, and we love going back. And I told my children, listen, if I die, make sure you bury me in Bangladesh. Not because I want to be buried there. I want you guys to visit me there.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for you guys to visit me. Yeah. So super, super important. Do you feel like sometimes our country lets us down because we want to put the country on a pedestal? We want to promote it. We want to show the positiveness of the country. And then you've got situations that happen where I feel kind of let down, like, okay, don't do that.
I think these are things that we can't control. Obviously, we are a part of the Bangladeshi diaspora, so we also have to focus on our communities as well in this country, so you have to, it's difficult to manage. I think sometimes, because you're not on the ground there, it's you're kind of detached.
Yeah.
So disappointments, I don't know. I don't like, it's just, it's inevitable, kind of.
Okay, I know you're a positive guy, and so am I. But as much as we are generous, we are kind, we're hospitable, I think Bangladeshi people in that region, probably the most hospitable people, particularly people from, dare I say, Sylhet. But on the flip side, we do have some issues, like, we get jealous very quickly. We can't stand someone else's success.
I think these are just cultural village kind of mentalities. I think it's just natural living in small, tight-knit communities. These things are bound to happen. Jealousy. I think at the root of it is probably education. That's the problem. So if we focus on educating and understanding of deen as well, because you shouldn't really get jealous of anyone, because their risk is their risk. Whatever they've been given has been given by Allah, and Allah can give and Allah can take. So just a bit more,
Tolerance
tolerance, yeah.
and celebration. I think it's not just tolerance, celebration. I love seeing people like Shah Kamali, Khalid Ali, doing what they're doing in a different field.
Yeah.
When I see, not many people know Ruhul Amin Bhai. I'm trying to get so hard to get him on the podcast. He's a co-founder of Onfido, and who is Onfido? Onfido is behind all your security and verification checks that happen through apps when you open a bank account. Oxford graduate, went to Stepney Green School. MashaAllah, so super humble. And
that was him.
Yes, Onfido is him, or with a couple of other 2 Muslim co-founders.
That's insane.
It's mad.
Yeah.
So we need to celebrate, and at the same time, I think some of our people also like to perhaps hide their success because they don't know how people are going to react to it, or they're going to be jealous about them or not. And I think so many guests that I have in mind, I want to share their stories, but they don't want to come because they don't want to share that limelight, or maybe they're just introverted by default, or maybe the other side is they don't want to talk about what they've achieved because they might, someone might give evil eye.
Yeah.
And it's undeniable, black magic is rife within our community. If we want to hate on someone, we go behind the scenes. And I always say, Shada Manush, white people, if they want to take you down, they will go to the court.
Yeah, exactly.
But with us, mans,
behind the scenes,
behind the scenes stuff. Astaghfirullah. I say this because personally, I've been subject to all of this stuff, and we don't know who, and it's good that I don't know who. But I think people really should celebrate, each other, and then there will be more.
It's coming from a poverty mindset as well, I think, because they see you gaining as you taking from them.
Yeah.
But it's not like that.
Well, I wish our younger up and coming. I mean, it's changing a lot. With the second generation, third generation, and I think the new generation will be a lot different. But yeah, as you say, it's probably maybe the previous generations.
I think so.
Now I've seen on your fight, Newland. Is it Newland?
Yeah.
It was a very short fight. How comes?
Just knocked him out.
Why? I'm okay, round 2. Where is round 2? You finished in round 1, and then there was another guy, I think African guy as well. And it was very quick fight. How comes?
Alhamdulillah, you don't get paid by the hour in fighting, so I just take them out.
That is mad.
Yeah.
That is solid. I'm so how many rounds you get? What?
Each fight is usually 3 rounds.
Okay.
If it's a title fight, it'll be 5 rounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can just knock them out in the first one and you win.
If you have the ability.
And what determines that? Okay, it's he's the winner already.
Is because he can't. The ref will stop it. The ref will say no more, because if he's on the ground and he can't defend himself, or if they're not defending themselves intelligently and they're taking too much damage, then the ref will say stop.
But they don't want an ambulance coming over or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a scary fight, man.
It is.
Do people die in it?
In MMA, not yet. Not
okay.
As far as I know, not. They don't really die from taking the punches. In boxing, it happens, but it's usually because they've cut a lot of weight, they've dehydrated themselves, their brain is dehydrated, and taking hits to the head repetitively can cause aneurysms, all sorts of brain injuries. It's rare. It's very rare.
Do you think your size helps? Obviously, you're fighting another person that's same weight and height as you, but I don't know. Did you pick that sport because of your stature? MashaAllah.
No, not necessarily. I don't know. I think it helps, but it's just what you've been blessed with, I guess.
Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah, I know we're not supposed to talk about it, but you're not going to have any trouble, get married if you're not married already, because mashallah, tall, handsome, mashallah. I was thinking, because I can see on the fight, like you are like mashallah big, but when I have to look up. I have to look up. So strategy is in your mind all the time. You're competitive. Are you competitive elsewhere as well?
Yes, to an extent. I think I only really care when it counts.
Okay.
I'm very competitive, but it's just fun.
Okay.
In the cage is different. It's for my career, right? It's,
Yeah.
It's my sport. It's my profession. It's my, my pride and joy. Like I have to put my best foot forward. But in terms of other things, I can take losses like a man. It's not even a problem. But at the same time, I do want to win.
Mashallah. Is your family like also like tall like you or?
Yeah, my family, just my brothers. All my brothers are above 6 foot, alhamdulillah. So
Mashallah.
it's not like that in the rest of my family. But yeah, I guess we just got lucky.
Good genes, mashallah,
Yeah.
mashallah. Is your father tall as well?
My father, yeah, when he was younger, he's gone older. He's a bit shorter now.
Still alive though, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah, yeah, still alive,
Alhamdulillah. And how does he feel? Like, does he watch you like, fighting and
yeah. He does. He's funny. He always, whenever he's around with me, he tells people my son's a fighter. And he's always
mashallah,
proud.
mashallah,
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah, it's very, very, yeah, it's nice. He watches it. He's supportive, alhamdulillah. Yeah,
What does he say to you, like, after a fight? Like, what advice does he
He's
give?
my dad's quite nonchalant, so he would just be like, "Did you win?" And I say, "Yes." He's like, "Good." But my mum's usually the worried one.
Okay, what does she say? Oh, what's going to happen to my son?
She's always a little bit worried. When I come home from my fights, she's always checking my face to see if I got any marks, scratches. Alhamdulillah, not in any of my fights so far. So yeah, she's usually the more. My mum's worry anyways.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. So, uncle, like, did you win? Yes, I won. Have you ever lost?
No, alhamdulillah.
You
I'm
haven't?
defeated, yeah.
Is it the mindset that makes you say, you know what, there is no lose?
It's one of those things, I guess. I think it comes from maybe growing up, when you're in your surroundings, you just don't like to lose, I guess, and you just have that kind of competitive drive. Some people feel like it's okay to lose. I've never had that. Like in terms of if you really want to, like, losing is not an option. Failure is not an option. Winning is the only thing that that counts.
Have you ever failed in any part of your life, and how did you feel? Because look, for me, I take it very personally when I fail. Like when something doesn't go according to my strategy, I get very disappointed, and the only way I think I recover from it is just by sleeping it off or something.
It depends on how you mean failure.
Like something was supposed to happen, and it was so high stake, and maybe like a deal or something, and it didn't happen.
I don't know. I've never had it like that. But any sort of setbacks that I've ever faced, I always try and find some meaning in it.
Okay.
For example, it might have been that I've gotten an injury and I can't fight. That's like a failure setback in my domain. And I would say the way it is very tough, because when you're physically unable to like be the same, have the same capacity as you did before, it's quite demotivating.
Yeah.
You can't even walk properly because
It's
of this
so
injury.
sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I can feel like, that pain, like, that is your arms, your whatever body you would use to do what you need to do.
Yeah,
and
exactly,
then, okay, you can't even move
Your
anymore.
whole function is based on what your ability to move and use your body. That's exactly what you're doing, and you can't. And it is can be demotivating, but you have to kind of. These are the moments where you need, when you should realize, okay, this is a test. Now I have to. This is where mental fortitude is actually built in the hard times. Mental fortitude is never built during the good times. It's always built during the hard times.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to take it on the chin, and you try and find meaning in it.
If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what else would it be? Would it be that you would do as an alternative?
I think I would definitely be doing some form of business.
What
I think
kind?
anything. So before I when I was fighting, I did have a fast food business. at
What
one
was it
point.
called?
It was called Wide Burgers. It was, it was
Okay.
a ghost kitchen based in
Okay.
Stoke Newington. So I
Okay,
had that
okay,
for a while,
mashallah.
for about 7-8 months. I was running it all myself. Not myself, me and my partner. We were running it. So I was the chef. He was the kind of doing the assembling, the admin sort of stuff. We were both doing that and we were running it. You know, I was doing the cleaning at end of every shift. I was working. I would train in the mornings from 9 a.m. till about 2 p.m. or 12 p.m.
What?
No, it's not all training.
Okay.
So you'd have about 3 or 4 hours. You'd have like a gap in between. I'd go home. I'd rest. I'd eat. From 5 till 11, I would be working in the kitchen. And that would be my everyday.
Making burgers.
Making burgers, smash burgers every day.
Okay, I might need to pick your brains. Is White Burger still?
It's not going at the
Okay.
moment. We kind of disbanded it.
Okay.
We were trying to find a new location.
Okay.
And you know, in Bow Business Triangle,
Yeah.
there was units at the time
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
but
That's where Meetup is as well.
That's
isn't
where
it?
Meetup is, yeah.
Mashallah, mashallah. Much success to them.
yeah, they're smashing it. Allah Mubarak.
Alhamdulillah.
But yeah, it just didn't materialize. And
I guess
at
for
that
the better,
time,
maybe.
yeah, at that time I was getting more further into my career. So at that time I was an amateur. Now I'm a professional. So I have to take it more seriously, you know. So I couldn't do that. I couldn't have that same routine and still train the same way.
Would you go back to if say, you know what, like God forbid something happened and you cannot in any way, shape or form get into your fighting? Would you go back and do White Burgers, or would it be something
100%,
else?
100%.
Really?
I would do
Because I think fast food is so difficult.
Food is difficult. It's very difficult. But I would do something similar.
Okay.
There was different ideas. I always have ideas in my head.
MashaAllah.
But you know, you have to have capital to do it, and you have to have time to do it. That's the most important thing. Time.
Absolutely. Time
You know?
is, oh my God, like, you know, such a valuable and limited resource.
Exactly. So, no, but I always have ideas. You know, inshallah. If you know, when fighting goes well, and I gain that capital, I have so many different ideas and businesses that I want to set up. So yeah, inshallah, you know.
Give me some indication in terms of what industries. I'm not going to try and take your ideas. I'm sure audience wouldn't want to.
So you see the
Tiger Style. What's that? I was going to ask you, what is it?
So this is my gym. I run it out of a community center at the moment.
Oh, nice.
In Teviot Estate, in Teviot Center, in Teviot. And I've been running it for almost a year now. And alhamdulillah, it's been going very well. We have such a wide range of students. The youngest are around 15, 16. They're still in year 11, secondary school. And we have people who join who are in their late 40s. And alhamdulillah, you have them all in one room, different backgrounds, some South American, some from Far East, some from the Philippines, some from, you know, obviously Asia, Bangladeshi community, and some European, and they're all in one room training. And alhamdulillah, it's great.
So Tiger Style is a training academy.
Yes.
And say I joined or I came for a session. What would I expect?
So we have 4 different types of classes. We have MMA striking, MMA grappling, submission grappling, which is sort of like BJJ, and we have kickboxing. So in any one which you feel like you want to get into, you'd go to the class, you'd attend. They're structured classes, you know. They have your warm up, you have your technical part, and then you have sparring at the end. But you know, it's welcome to all levels. So you can see the room is very diverse. You know, old people, young people, and they're all finding it easy to come back because they've been coming for months. You know.
Wow. Yeah, I'm tempted to.
Yeah, you should come through. You should come through definitely.
Because I go gym regularly. I go like five days a week, Monday to Friday, and I feel obviously it's not just me. Everyone who goes to gym, they feel like the difference in their mental well-being and physical well-being, and just to channel my stress or whatever attention, running, doing gym does help. So I think, like you, maybe it's time for an upgrade. And
maybe, it's just something different.
Yeah,
you should always try to introduce novelty in your training because it keeps you kind of more motivated.
True.
Because sometimes it can get boring, you know. But if you introduce something new, something fun, something social as well, because gym you can just do it solitary.
Yeah.
You can just go to the gym. You don't even have to talk to anyone.
You just do your
use
thing
your machines,
and go.
whatever, and you can go. But in the gym it's different because you're interacting with so many different people, and it's fun. It's like building a community. You know? When these people come to the gym, they feel a sense of brotherhood is very important. You know, it's very important, and I like to think, you know, when they come to the gym, their stresses go, and they feel like, you know, they can talk to anyone in the gym, and you know, feel like they're part of a community.
Yeah. So if how frequently does your training happen?
So at the moment, when is this getting released?
So let's say next Friday.
Okay, after Ramadan, inshallah, it will be running 3 times a week. So Monday 7 till 9, Wednesday 7 till 9, and Fridays from 8:30 till 9:30. So 3 times.
And are you
a
the
week.
instructor, or do you have other
Yes.
instructors as well?
It's me running it with another brother, Tanvir, and I'm the head coach. He's the assistant coach, and we both run it together.
Hey guys, I hope you have been enjoying today's episode as well as I have. If you have, don't be cheeky. Please do consider subscribing to our channel on the platform you are tuned into. It is your subscription that motivates me and my team to continue with our efforts here at Side by Side. Believe it or not, it makes a world of a difference. Now let's get straight back into the show. And if you were to like take it up a notch, like, you know, say you want to, you know, scale the business, what would be the next step?
The next step would be to find a unit, and then from there, it would take a lot of investment and a lot of work, because maintaining a gym is not cheap. It's not cheap, and you know how the price of units as well is not cheap, and especially in our local area. So it will take a lot of investment, but I do think this next generation, they're more conscious of their health, and they're more conscious about being active, and especially now that they can see examples of in their community of people taking up sports and really, you know, going for it. You know, it should motivate them to kind of sign up and try and pursue an active lifestyle.
You know, you mentioned like, you know, more and more, up and coming younger generation are thinking about health, and I think they're also thinking about their faith at the same time.
Yes.
And some of us reluctantly go to the normal gyms because like
Yes.
other options.
Yeah.
And I wish and I hope, like, you know, more brothers like you, like, you know, come and, you know, offer alternatives. Like, okay, you got your normal gym, the gym group, the pure gym. It's all mixed. Like, and sometimes I would put my, like, you know, cap like up to here, so like just so I can avoid, you know, seeing. And I do go at a certain time, so there's limited exposure. But before there was Higher Fitness, that was great.
Yeah,
exactly.
I used to go there as well. Yeah,
So that no longer exists, and I think if we had it back then, I think now people are going to gym more.
Yeah.
There has to be more alternatives, and you know what, like maybe that's an opportunity
100%
to really take it up, and you know, do it like modern, like the way these guys are doing, like, you know, 24 hours, you know.
I think there are a few opening up. I think there's one Powerhouse Gym. I think it's opening up in Stepney Green.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's right opposite the Asda in Stepney Green.
Okay.
So right next to the PFC shops, all of them. I think it's somewhere near there.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I think it's opened up recently. So that's
it's already opened.
I think so.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out. I haven't seen it, so because that's very convenient. Because for me, convenience of the gym is also quite important. Wow, there's a lot that we've not covered yet. You're quite religious.
Yeah.
Have you always been this way?
I think when I first started getting into fighting, I think I always was from a young age. My parents sent me to madrasa. They made sure that we all had that. Me and my siblings all had that same, you know, Islamic fundamental understanding. We also had obviously Messab coming to our house, you know, as you do. But when I first started competing, I realized the link between your faith and what you do, because it's you have to be disciplined in all areas of your life, and if you neglect your faith, which is the most important to us as Muslims, it's a slippery slope. I always found it like in a fight, there's so much chaos. Something could, you could, a punch could miss you by, but if that hit you, you'd be out. But the only reason why it didn't hit you is because, you prayed that day. You're making dua that, alhamdulillah, inshallah, the best outcome is written for you. And subhanallah, when you experience that kind of risk, in sports or in anything, where there's consequences that are that high, you can think back to the Sahaba when they're fighting the wars, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was fighting these wars in the desert in Arabia under the scorching heat, and the only reason why they won is because Allah is on the side of the believers, and it can really give you a different perspective, and faith is at the heart of it. You have to keep on top of your adhkars, your prayers, your everything, your dhikr is so important.
SubhanAllah, I think more people do adhkar than I realize, because I just feel like, because I've been exposed to I faced some difficulties, and I realized, I never used to do adhkar. Like my father used to always tell us read this surah after this salah, this surah after, but it was never we never took it seriously. And when challenges hit you, then you realize, okay, I need to do it. And then when you do it, and by the way, it's doing is so hard. It's only going to take 5 minutes, and it's so it's so easy. But shaitan makes it so hard for you to not do it. It will make you procrastinate until the day has gone by. So, I definitely encourage people to start with Surah Yasin at least, because honestly, my uncle used to always tell me do Surah Yasin and your day will be perfect. I say, okay, I'll give it a try. And then subhanAllah, when I don't do it, I feel like something's off.
Yeah.
I haven't done something. And I feel so much better when I read my adhkar and Surah Yasin. It only takes 20 minutes, tops. And then it's I'm ready for the day.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Do you feel like your competition or what you do has enhanced your faith more?
It's all a part of it. When you're disciplined, a lot of people in their careers, they don't have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
They can slack. You turn up, you pencil down what you need to pencil down, you put whatever you need to put in the spreadsheet, and you can kind of slack off. But when you realize, if you're a professional athlete, you have to really take things serious. Because if you slack off, the consequences are so severe. And you can see those consequences. In majority of people's day-to-day lives, you don't see the consequences of our bad habits.
Yeah.
And these bad habits, they compound over our life, When you get that call from your doctor saying you got heart disease at 50, that didn't start then. It started when you was working in your desk job at 20 and you weren't paying attention to your health. It didn't happen then. It happened today because you didn't take action today. So I think, just that understanding of, you have to have that certain level of discipline is so important.
Wow. No, that's very profound. What you just said, getting a call from the doctor, and, it was compounding, throughout your life. And I guess that's one of the fears that makes me go to gym. I think I started quite late. I mean, it was always okay, let me make a membership and I'm going to go to gym. It never worked. It never ever worked. And then I reversed it. I said, I'm going to get into the discipline first. I'm going to go running first. And once I've proved to myself I'm disciplined and I can do it, then I'll go and join the gym. But yeah, it's that fear, man. I don't want the doctor to tell me.
No.
Obviously, it's unavoidable. Maybe if it's meant to happen, it will happen. Some people say, oh, what's the point of doing gym? Because you're going to die anyway. I was like, okay, how would you respond to someone like this?
First off, it's like saying you've got a test coming up. There's no point in revising. You're going to do the test anyways. That's irrelevant. You're going to prepare. You have to prepare for that test.
Yeah.
And try and do the best as you can, because you want to reduce the possibility of you failing. I want to reduce that possibility. That the probability is going to be smaller if I do this.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I just do that?
And it's fact, right? It's not just some myth or something like, oh, if you go to gym, you become more unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's very, very strange, because I get told all the time, like, what are you doing it for? Like, you're gonna die. But I just do. I do it. Obviously, it's not avoidance from death, because that's the only truth that is absolute. Like, my dad has died, my uncles have died, like people around me have died. So there's no escape from death. And I think even non-Muslims believe that, death is unavoidable. You know what, you mentioned something before, like, our belonging when we go back to Bangladesh. And I feel that way as well. Yesterday I was in Milan and I was talking to someone, and they were like, you know what, like, we've got so many like identity crises that we're juggling. Like, we're Muslims, we're Bengalis, we're this, we're that, we're living in another country. Like, what are we?
Yeah, it's difficult. Your identity, that's what I'm saying, because our identity in this country, we kind of, we don't really fit in too well. But our fathers have made it so that we have a community here.
Yeah.
If you're in different parts of the country, it's difficult, because you're surrounded by white British people, and it's difficult. So they have a bigger identity crisis. For us, I think we have it a little bit easier.
Yeah, we definitely have our fathers have worked very hard for us to have it easy. But when you're in business, you still feel like, okay, like I know I'm here, but I'm not really meant to be here, or maybe I've been mentally colonized, or maybe I've colonized myself.
Maybe.
But yeah, those thoughts do come in your mind, and you think
that's an interesting point, because I feel like some people, when they see me fighting, and they see me fighting different backgrounds, different races, they have a sort of mentality where they could never see themselves doing that, because they see themselves as inferior.
Yeah.
But I've never had that problem. I've never seen it as I've always seen it as like an equal.
Yeah.
It depends on what actions you take, what you do. No one's above or below, it's just about.
I think it is definitely a bit of like, self-colonizing and really putting ourselves down, like, okay, ultimately we're all human beings. You've got hands, I've got hands,
exactly.
You've got a brain, and I'm sure, like, okay, maybe some people have a little bit more brain, but that doesn't mean anything if you're not going to use that brain. Allah's given you so many free resources to make whatever you want in this life,
especially in this day and age.
Subhanallah, like with ChatGPT and AI, like it is so easy, like to do the right thing and to make a right decision. Like, you don't need to go and find a consultant anymore. ChatGPT will consult you. And to a certain extent, I think it's quite dangerous. Like, ChatGPT is becoming a good friend of mine. Like, when they, I know some people use Claude or something else, but I've just become used to ChatGPT. And initially I was resisting, like, you know what? This is going to take our creativity away, and, it's meant to be just used for like admin stuff. But now I kind of got used to it, and I make better decisions, because I do consult.
It's a tool. It's a tool. If you're using it as a tool, you're not, if you're not completely reliant on it, then I think it's a.
No, I don't like to be completely reliant. So I would write a social post just to balance everything out. I would put it through my ChatGPT bakery, and it will give me a very nice post in the end. And yeah, my audience enjoy the posts, and I get my message across in a much more eloquent way.
That's it.
But the beginning is I have to write it down. Like, maybe the grammar is not going to be absolutely correct, but yeah. So people don't have any reason not to go out and do well. And I think one of the motivation for me to start this podcast is to really spark that motivation of wanting to do something, because you can't force someone to be successful. I've tried many times to make people successful, and it's like you leave them. It's like you pump the tire, and then as soon as you leave them, it's gone down. The tire's gone flat. So I don't try to like make people successful anymore. I just try and ignite that spark, because when I was still a nobody, when I had nothing, it was that spark. Someone ignited that spark in me, saying, "Do you know what? You can do it. It's not just Richard Branson. It's not just Lord Sugar. You too can do it." And to all our Muslim brothers and sisters, yes, you too can do it. And I say sisters, yes, sisters too. Because if you look at the early days of Islam, like, Khadija radiallahu anha, she was an entrepreneur, she was a business lady. And like the job that I do, okay, podcasting, business, and like you're trying to excel, you're trying to be the better version of you. And people have problem with that for some reason. It's like, how do you react? You want to react, but you don't want to react at the same time. And obviously your strategy would probably be like, just cut them out, like just don't give them attention. Why if it's someone very close, like in your circle?
As in, how they
Like
react
also,
negatively.
this is all worldly, this is all this, that. I say, look, Islam didn't excel by associating itself with weakness. It associated always with the top of the top. If, say, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was here today, I think he would go and try and preach to someone like Donald Trump, like say, look, become a Muslim. And then you've got the whole everything, once you get the power on your side, you've got it on, it makes it easy for you. But we get attacked all the time, like as if we're some ungrateful people and greedy people who want to just eat and then, earn more and more and more.
I think it's depends. Your motivations for attaining wealth. Look, wealth is always better in the hands of a Muslim than a non-Muslim, right? Because first off, as a Muslim,
but how old are you? It doesn't sound like you're 26. You're like spitting bars that are like a 50 or 60-year-old would give.
Thank you, Jazakallah. But the wealth is better in the hands of ourselves, and I think because as Muslims we have to provide for our families, our family and our community. So that's how you do explain it to these people. The wealth is better in our hands, and obviously we're not trying to hoard.
No.
We're not trying to hoard. When we leave from this life, all we're going to leave with is our children and our deeds and the sadaqah that is.
And we have to give zakat.
Exactly,
we have to give zakat.
Yeah,
like
so
that
the more money I earn, the more money I give to zakat, the more people I can help.
Exactly.
So these people, I think they're somewhat mentally enslaved, I think, and they think about things in a backwards way, where they feel like because we're Muslim, we shouldn't enjoy the fruits of our labor. We should live like peasants. But no, if you want to enjoy nice things because it's within your means, go ahead and do that. It's not a problem. Your risk is your risk. It's written for you. You can do whatever you want to do. But remember, all of us are going to be questioned on what we do with our wealth. So if you want to use your money for that purpose, you can use it, but you will be questioned for it.
Yeah.
So if you relate it back to Islam and your deen, then there's no issue with it. I think people are, maybe it's jealousy when it comes down to jealousy. They don't want to see you enjoying your money, or they don't want to see you succeeding. Maybe they get reminded of their own
inefficiency.
Weakness. Yes, their own inefficiency. They get reminded because it's never personal.
Yeah.
One thing I've realized, it's never personal. Whenever someone says something to you, a comment which could be perceived negatively, it's never personal. It's always a reflection of themselves. They have within them, like they realize themselves, they could have been in this. It can sometimes come from the people closest to you because of the fact that they've grown up with you and you've managed to do something, and they were there the whole time, but they haven't managed to do anything themselves. So they resent the fact that you took action and they didn't.
So they get angry at themselves.
They get angry at themselves by attacking you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense,
Yeah.
but to some it wouldn't, because it does how does that make sense? But it does. I see it because and I'm a firm believer now. Like, you know what? When someone says something negative to me, I said, okay, yeah, maybe they're feeling bad about themselves. So maybe sometimes, you know what? It's sad that we have to tone down what we have and what we want to have because someone else can't handle it.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like maybe I don't know. I feel like I can be unapologetically how I am. I feel no certain way about it. But at the same time, look, if you have that firm standard in your head that Allah gives, Allah is the one that put you in this position, then anything anyone says, it doesn't matter.
Sometimes things are difficult, and I think, you know what, I'm just bringing more attention to me by doing this podcast, my family, my children. Like obviously I do talk about my wife, my whatever I'm going, because I'm a human being and that's what I will talk about. And sometimes I say to my missus, like, shall I just stop it? Because it's just like you're unnecessarily drawing more attention towards you. And then I think, you know what? Who cares? Like, because I'm doing it for good. I'm trying to benefit people, and I'm gonna continue doing it. It costs money, as you know. Like, you know, with everything, it costs money. So yeah, it does cross my mind. Like sometimes, you know, maybe like, you know, just pull the plug and just live a peaceful life. Or it's never going to be peaceful. Like you'll have lesser, you know, tension or things to worry about.
Yeah, I think you got to renew like your intentions for the reasons why you're doing it. You know, that's something you have to kind of check on yourself. You know.
Yeah. So, next 5 years, what's it looking like for you? What other strategies are you using to excel yourself and, you know, propel yourself forward?
Inshallah, it all comes down to the work you put in. So, inshallah, I'm just going to keep on working hard in the gym and making sure the results show on the in my fights. Alhamdulillah, they have done so far. But you can't rely on the work that you've done before. You have to keep on putting more work. You can't get complacent, because if you get complacent, someone else is pushing, and when you meet, they'll have done more, and they can beat you. You know. So the next 5 years, inshallah, I will be fighting in a major promotion. Hopefully, inshallah, the UFC. But really and truly, I'm sort of, you know, 5 years is a long time, you know.
But nowadays, it's flying.
What matters? What matters to me is that I don't really wake up and have bad days, because I do what I love. I do what I love to do. And,
Alhamdulillah, that's amazing.
And I never dread. Sometimes you dread training because it's gonna be hard. But you know how training is. But when I go there, it's never a bad day.
Yeah.
I never have bad days. And inshallah, if I keep on continuing like that, then, you know, that's what matters really and truly, you know. It's the personal fulfillment, you know.
So, inshallah, I do hope one day you will be not being interviewed by KSR with small podcast. You know, I want you
in
to
5
be,
years it will be one of the biggest.
Inshallah. See, I love that positivity, amazing. It's going to become a global platform. You know what? I should remind myself, it's going to be a global powerhouse that will delve into different media publications and aspects. But I do hope you will also get interviewed by people like Joe Rogan, because he's from the UFC background, isn't he?
Yeah. He was one of the earliest commentators on the UFC, and then he started his own podcast, and his podcast is global.
Like
massive,
these
huge.
guys are like, I mean, he's putting the work in, like 2,200 something episode. I'm like, yeah, we're done about 83 so far. So no wonder he's so
even
big.
with 83, you're still top 3% of all time.
You know what?
You know?
I realized that because when I look at the subscriber count, I'm like, it's not like that big, but the impact is so big. Like when I'm walking down the street, I was in Milan, like people say, oh, I watched the podcast. I was okay, thank you. Because I get very shy when people say, oh, like, you know, amazing, keep it up. It's just the way I've been. A question that I normally ask all our guests, like right at the beginning, is what is their greatest fear? So what's your greatest fear? Apart from the, you know, as a Muslim, we have many fears that are related to our faith. What is your greatest fear aside from faith?
Greatest fear, I think just the fear of failure, really. It's like fear of failure. That's what I run away from. I don't really, chasing success isn't the biggest thing for me. It's running away from failure, because I have my certain standards. And I know if I lack, then the inevitable result will be failure. So failure is the biggest motivator for me.
And your favorite post-training meal?
My favorite post-training meal, listen, Adana Bethnal Green. Adana Bethnal Green, yeah, Turkish fusion. Platter number 4. Yeah, that's my favorite post-training meal.
I'm coming for it too. So whenever you invite him,
inshallah, make sure you go down. Yeah?
And it's a lot of protein, right?
A lot of protein.
Is that why you love it?
A lot of protein, yeah, I love it.
Like what's in it? Like
it's there's kofta kebab. I love kofta kebab. There's chicken sheesh, lamb. There's chicken. The chicken wings are lovely. Their rice is nice. It's beautiful. It's a lot of protein. If you get it, you will understand. It's a big platter.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When do you train? Morning or evening?
Mornings. So when I first started, I used to train evenings. Obviously, I used to have university during the day and then train in the evenings. But now, training is all scheduled for the morning, and in the evenings, I would work and coach and just work in the evenings. Yeah.
If you had to do a day job with your training and everything, even if it's part-time, what would it be?
I think it'd have to be something flexible. I'd probably be doing Uber or something. Honestly.
Okay, aside from Uber, because you went to uni,
I did go to university, yeah.
What did you graduate as?
Electrical engineering.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know what I'd do, to be fair. I've never really looked at the job market like that.
So you wake up tomorrow morning and you have to find a job. Like
I have to find a job.
Apart from Uber, obviously Uber is easy. And nowadays you can't even get Uber because it's so long, the license. So long,
yeah, to get a PCO, yeah. What job would I do? It has to factor in my training. Honestly, it would be difficult.
Let's say they're very flexible and they can work around you and everything.
It would have to be some sort of like consulting work, or I guess, or something. Maybe working in different time zones. For example, like a company that's based in America that have a different time zone.
And what would the job be?
Consulting, I don't know, consultancy or something. Maybe I'm not sure. Honestly,
in what field? Not electrical engineering, not that field.
I don't know really.
And why did you pick that subject anyway? Because I love chemistry and physics and stuff. Not chemistry. Chemistry because of perfumery now, but physics is because of how things work.
Yeah, because of how things work. Genuinely, when I was growing up, I was always fascinated by how things work, and I love physics as well. Physics and maths, so it's just natural from
How many toy cars have you opened up to see what's in there?
Don't ask, because my mum could tell you that. I couldn't.
Because that's what I used to do. Like open up toy cars and see what's in it.
She'd buy me a new car and then I'd break it the next day.
Oh my god. iPhone or Android?
Android.
Allahu Akbar, why?
Just because you know what, on Android there's so much more flexibility. You can do a lot more than you can do on iPhone.
Give me one example that you can do on Android and you can't do on Apple. Like, come on.
Listen, on Android, so for example, I've got a cracked YouTube app where I can have YouTube with no ads, anything. Okay, that's very useful.
That's a good benefit.
So I can put on anything, a podcast, and there'll be no ads. I don't have to pay for YouTube.
And you're telling me that app is not available for iOS,
no,
guys?
No, it's not. It's not for iOS. You couldn't do it on iOS.
You know, I have a theory, right? People that use Android, they don't like being told what to do. They don't like control. They don't like any discipline. But I guess you're disciplined at the same time. So I don't know why you're using. I've got a colleague. He's sitting right in this office and he loves Android. And now he's, mashallah, Allah guided him to Apple.
No. A few of my friends are like that. They've been Android for the longest time, but I think the ease of iOS makes it, and the Apple ecosystem makes it so attractive.
See, I say always, like, you guys don't know what you're actually liking. Is it the software or is it the hardware? Which one?
Yeah, I don't know really. Honestly, I think it's the software for me.
Okay. All right, cool. Dream flight location.
Flight location.
Like anywhere you want to go to. Imagine you woke up tomorrow morning and you could go anywhere.
I'd go Thailand again. Thailand is lovely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't been.
You should definitely go. If you go Phuket, halal options wherever you go. 20%.
Food, honey, everything is good.
Perfect. Weather, perfect. Everything.
What time is probably December is...
December to May, I think is the best
much
time.
like Bangladesh, isn't it?
Yeah, same exact, yeah.
One hobby that you enjoy outside of your fighting?
I quite enjoy photography. So I have a lot of film cameras that I use. I have a big professional camera. Not as professional as these. These are much more
like
expensive.
4K Blackmagic, I think.
These are Blackmagic 4K cameras.
Yeah,
these are expensive. They're about 3-4 grand each.
Yeah.
Not like that, but photography. I'm into my photography a little bit.
Mashallah, you're very versatile. Like, you've got your engineering background, and then you've got your fighting, and then also a businessman. White burgers, yeah.
Yeah. And tiger style.
Tiger style, yeah. Is it inspired by the Royal Bengal tiger or?
Yes. Yes.
Mashallah, mashallah. So, any plans to go back home anytime soon?
Maybe in April, inshallah. I'm in talks with a few brothers that are on the ground over there and over here as well, to make something happen over there.
Like fight?
Not fighting. Some of it's going to be outreach and charity work. Some of it's going to be to do with fitness and like a boot camp kind of thing. But inshallah, we have to finalize that kind of stuff.
Is that going to be in Sylhet or Dhaka?
Dhaka, it's going to mainly be in Dhaka, and then we're going to obviously do some outreach work in Sylhet. If it's possible to do it in Sylhet, we'll do it in Sylhet as well.
Where are you from in Sylhet?
I'm from Zogonathpur.
Zogonathpur, okay. We're from somewhere like...
Shadfara.
We're from Zokiganj, which is like the Karimganj border. So it's very much on the edge.
Okay.
Yeah. Brother Shah, it really has been a very, very entertaining conversation for me and very thought-provoking and inspiring because, look, I said right at the beginning, and no, like, don't get offended. Like, I'm not into sports. I'm not into football. I don't go crazy over, like, in front of my television, like, screaming at the screen. So I say the only sport that I enjoy is business, and business is a lot to do with strategy and, making something out of nothing. I love that. But I really enjoyed this conversation because there was so much we spoke about, strategy. We spoke about fighting. We spoke about mindset, discipline, and even Islamic stuff, adhkar, recitation and faith, subhanallah. So I really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope you have too.
I have enjoyed it. Yeah. I hope people can benefit from
absolutely, and I think that's what it's all about. It's not about me showing my face, and some people say, you stop talking, I want to hear the guest. So I'm sorry if anyone found that I was enjoying the conversation so much, so I had to kind of chip in. But it's more about the guest, less about me. I don't really like to, I'm not a boasty person. So that's not what it's all about. So I hope our viewers would enjoy, and they will try Adana. And
exactly, yes, make sure.
and maybe I will see you at one of your training sessions one day. Just don't go to. You're a tall guy, man. You just don't don't kick me. If you kick me, I'll go flying.
No. I don't usually get involved. I'm just a coach.
I heard on the Newlands thing commentary. I think it was a girl or something. She was like, I can hear the kick so hard.
It is loud in there because it's so quiet. You can hear everything.
Oh my God! Even the mics kicked up, picked up all the sounds.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. If you had a dream sponsor that you could work with,
dream sponsor,
mainstream. It could be mainstream.
Dream sponsor.
Yeah.
Now that you've told me about Onfido, get me in touch with Ruhul. But he doesn't really sponsor. He's gone.
Okay, a second alternative.
Alternative. Dream sponsor. This is a difficult question because the answer I'm going to give is, inshallah, I build a company myself big enough
that it will sponsor itself.
That it will sponsor itself.
Okay.
That's my answer.
Amazing.
I honestly don't have any.
And if it was a mainstream sponsor like, say, Adidas or Nike or someone else, would you say, no, I don't want your sponsorship?
The thing is, sometimes, morals change with money.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to really look at the company you're getting sponsored by and see if they align with your morals and values, So it's difficult.
That's a very difficult one,
in this day and age, you don't know where the money is tied to.
Exactly. Oh my days, it's so
that's
difficult.
That's why it's difficult to say.
And for people like yourself, if you want to go up all the way there, then you will probably face sponsors like Nike who would want to take part or chip in and be part of your success. And it's difficult to say no sometimes, but then again you have to use your moral compass to guide you. And I always do istikhara, bro. Even sometimes I do more this year now because I want to make less mistakes this year, and I do istikhara for pretty much every complicated and complex decision that I have no answers to or probability to.
It's key.
So, Brother Shah, we can go on forever. We're going to go on.
I don't know
forever.
how long we've gone on for.
1 hour 16 minutes, not bad.
That's not bad.
Not bad. We can go on for very long time.
It flew.
Yeah, literally.
Very,
so, again, I really, really enjoyed this conversation, and let's stay in touch, inshallah.
100%.
And you have to try buddies.
You know what? Funnily
I
enough,
offered it to you.
No, funnily enough, no, I was because when I was here for Taptap Send, I was here with my friend who's also helps me with outreach and management and stuff like that. And we went to Buddies afterwards.
Oh, you did?
we
You
got
already
the
ate?
spicy, we got the spicy chicken burger.
Yeah, that's
and
our
the wings. I like the wings. Yeah, it was very
thank
nice.
you. Yeah, that's yeah. Spicy
I have
chicken
been.
burger. Yeah.
So just say
thank you, thank you
It's
very
nice.
much, and I look forward to seeing this episode come out because I know our audience will enjoy. I know this is the last part that we're saying, but yeah, I hope they will subscribe as well. And
inshallah.
yeah, thank you, Jazakallah, and all the best.
Thank you very much.
And that's it for today on Side by Side. I hope you have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with our guest, Brother Shah Kamali. If you have, please do consider subscribing to our channel on the platform you are tuned into. It is your subscription. Believe it or not, it is your subscription that motivates me personally and the team to continue with our efforts episode after episode, because sometimes it does get very difficult. And when we see those subscribers going up, it really, really boosts our energy. With that said, I will reunite with you on our next episode. If you have any questions for myself or our guests, or any recommendations for improvements, please comment below and we will do our best to respond to them personally. Assalamu alaikum.